Story 1. The Hallway Footsteps. It was fifth period chemistry, a class that already felt like it dragged on for eternity. The teacher had given up on lecturing that day and let us work quietly, though most of us were chatting in whispers or scrolling through our phones under the desks. Then, right when the fluorescent lights above us flickered, the intercom clicked. There was a long pause before the principal's voice came on. I'd never heard him sound like that before, hoarse, trembling, and urgent. "Teachers, lock your doors. This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill." The room fell to dead silence. Our teacher sprinted to the door, slammed it lock, and turned off the lights. He ordered us into the back corner behind the lab tables. The air smelled faintly of burnt chemicals, and I remember my pulse sinking with the ticking of the classroom clock. For a while, there was nothing. Then faint footsteps echoed down the hallway. Not rushed, not panicked, slow, methodical. Whoever it was dragged something metallic against the lockers, a screeching that made everyone flinch. The footsteps stopped right outside our door. We all froze. The doorknob rattled once. Then came heavy breathing, deep and raspy, inches from the other side. "I know you're in there." A whisper slithered through the crack. One of the freshmen whimpered. The voice chuckled, low and broken, before the sound of boots shifted away. We stayed there for what felt like an eternity, every second thick with dread. Finally, after almost an hour, the intercom returned. The principal shakily announced the lockdown was lifted. We were told to remain calm and return to classwork. No explanation, nothing. Later, rumors flew. Some said a homeless man had slipped inside. Others claimed police found a crowbar in the boiler room, but no suspect. No one admitted to seeing the intruder leave. What unsettles me to this day is not the whisper itself, but the fact that after we left, our teacher checked the door. It hadn't been locked properly at all. Story 2. The Library Window. It was one of those gray October afternoons when rain made the campus smell like wet pavement. I was shelving books at the back of the library where the tall glass windows looked out onto the parking lot. That's when I saw him. A man. Standing in the downpour, his clothes plastered to his body, hair slick across his forehead, his pale face pressed against the glass. He didn't blink. He just stared inside, scanning the students. His lips moved silently, mouthing words I couldn't understand. The librarian froze when she saw him. She whispered into her walkie-talkie, and seconds later, the PA crackled. "Lockdown! Teachers, initiate lockdown immediately!" Chaos rippled through the library. Lights snapped off, kids ducked under tables, and the blinds were yanked down, except for the back windows. I crouched low, still able to see his face through a sliver where the blinds didn't fully close. He raised one hand, palm against the glass, leaving a smear of rainwater. Then, with his other hand, he picked up a rock. Bang! The glass shook as the rock bounced off. Gasps filled the room. Someone stifled a scream.
He threw another, harder this time. A spiderweb crack spread across the pane. My chest tightened. I thought the window would shatter and he'd crawl through. Before the third throw, flashing lights cut across the lot. Sirens blared. Officers rushed toward him, shouting commands. He dropped the rock and bolted, vanishing into the woods behind the school. Later, whispers spread that he was a former student expelled years ago, a registered sex offender. Some claimed he had been spotted around the neighborhood before, just watching. He was never caught that day, and every time I'm back in that library during a storm, I can't help but check the windows, half expecting his pale face to be there again. Story 3: The Basement Lock-In. As a senior, I had a work-study period that assigned me to the basement storage rooms. It was quiet, away from the crowded halls, filled with old sports uniforms, dusty band equipment, and boxes stacked high. The kind of place no one ever really checked. One afternoon in March, while I was folding jerseys, the PA system blared, "Lockdown! This is not a drill!" My stomach dropped. The basement had no classrooms, no sturdy locks, just a couple of flimsy closets and one creaky stairwell door. I killed the light and crouched behind a tower of boxes, my hands shaking. For 10 minutes, silence. Then the unmistakable sound of the stairwell door creaking open. Heavy boots descended the steps, slow and deliberate. Whoever it was didn't use a flashlight. Each footfall grew louder until a humming began. Low, tuneless, broken, the sound of someone half singing to themselves. They stopped halfway down and muttered, "I know someone's down here." I held my breath until spots danced in my vision. The boots lingered. Then, just as suddenly, they stomped back up the stairs. The door slammed. Silence returned. When the lockdown ended, I sprinted upstairs. Teachers and officers were sweeping classrooms, but none admitted to searching the basement. Later, I asked the police if they saw anyone. Their answer was no intruder had been found inside the school. 2 weeks later, I returned to the basement for more work. While moving the same stack of boxes I'd hidden behind, I found a torn scrap of paper wedged between them. 3 words scrawled in jagged handwriting. "I saw you."